Hi, welcome to the Boards360 video channel. Today we're reviewing the Arima Salty Beer. Firstly, let's talk about Arima Surfboards. They're based in the Basque Country in Spain. Self-titled the Masters of Style. They're all about bringing back flow and a classic style back into your surfing. And hence all their boards are like have got a nice classic retro feel to them. They've always got a nice finish on them. In fact, you can see the light reflecting off here is a bit of a nightmare for recording, but actually that's a reflection of the quality of the build on these boards. They're also, because they like to create like a nicely finished board as well, they're really conscious about picking the best materials that will deliver that performance. These are really nice looking boards, so if you're after something in that sort of classic retro style that surfs as good as it looks, then Arima's for you. Today we're going to be looking at the Arima Salty Beer. Now, a great name for a board, or is it? No one wants a salty beer, but if it's a salty version of a beer, when we all love a beer, so great. I mean, who knows where they get these names from. And the Salty Beer has been designed to be a versatile board. It will get you into smaller waves. Because of its length, it'll give you the ability to glide through any of the flatter sections, but it's also designed as well for when it gets a bit bigger. It'll handle that size, it will get you into the waves earlier. And when we start to look at some of the features of the board, particularly the tail, you can see that actually it allows you to do some nice turns to link those up and sort of give you a bit of a nice, smooth flowing style. So how does it make it easier to catch waves? Well, what you can see if I show you the shape is that actually a big part of this comes from the width, which sits sort of a little bit further up from the midpoint. And all that extra width there and extra volume will allow you to get into the waves earlier. Nice easy strokes into the wave. You can see there's sort of fins out a little bit towards the tail, and definitely plenty of volume up the front there. This one comes out at 21 3/4 inch wide at its widest point. If I just show you the tail, so you can see there it's got a really nice diamond tail. The diamond tail, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like a crossover between a round tail, which gives you nice loose turns, and a square tail, which obviously allows you a bit more pivot. So a diamond's sort of like an in-between of those. So it'll give you more pivot than a round tail, but maybe slightly less than a square tail. The other way it delivers is the length. So it's 7 foot in length in total. And that just really helps you to keep that momentum going on the smaller days. With the extra length, gives you a bit more trim and almost like a little bit more of a mini mal type vibe when you're surfing smaller waves. So let's just run through the main elements of the board. See the nose. If I just angle the board down, you can see there's not a huge amount of concave on there. The bottom shape is fairly flat. There's a little bit of V through the tail, which I'll show you in a minute. Essentially, great little board for cruising and gliding. Quick look at the rails. You can see the rails there. Medium rails, medium to soft. Again, very forgiving on the turns. You'll see the rails get a little bit sharper as we go into the tail when I show you that in a minute. If we look at the rocker, you're not going to be expecting lots of rocker on this. You're not going to get lots of rocker, but there's enough in the nose there, like I said, to avoid any purling. And there's a little bit in the tail there just to sort of help out with the turns. And then if we look at the fin setup, it's a single fin setup. So again, that contributes towards a nice cruisy style. You're not going to be pulling super snappy turns on this, but that single fin, depending on how long you've got it, give you a nice little cruise, give you more speed, because obviously there's less fins in the water generating any drag. All the Arima boards come with fins, including this one, so a single fin comes in the box, ready to use. If you want to look at the profile there, there's a tiny little bit of V as you go through the middle there. Not sure if you can see that, but overall pretty tidy board. You can see there as well, the rails do get a bit sharper through the tail, but they're certainly not extreme. So what's the finish like? So you can see there's a lovely sheen on that one, really nicely finished board, really well put together. Colour, this is a lovely little sea green sort of colour. And we've got like some nice little touches on the paintwork. I'm not sure if that comes through, but there's some subtle little changes in the paintwork. There's a little sort of edge around the rails. We've got, and then if I spin it over, nice little subtle touches, just the Arima logo there. Just running through the dimensions, 48.6 litres. I mentioned before, 21 3/4 width and 7 foot in length. And who's it suitable for? Suitable for someone that doesn't quite want to have a mini mal, or wants a slightly alternative mid-length sort of feel, wants a nice classic style of surfing, something that will just be pretty versatile whatever the conditions, even when it's small or even if it steps up in size. It certainly isn't going to be something you'd want to take out in super gnarly, double overhead. But certainly on the nice summer cruisy days, or some of the lumpier days that we get around this coast. This is, sort of a bit of a retro board. So if somebody has been surfing a retro board for a while, and that's, sort of run its course a little bit, then, maybe it's quite nice to upgrade to still an old style retro board, but with a nice clean, brand new finish. So that's who it's ideal for. How does it surf? I surf this in like 2 to 3 foot, sort of okay-ish summery waves. I must admit, I got a few admiring looks on the way down to the beach. I think people were kind of quite intrigued as to the shape. But also, like I said, it's a nice looking board as well. It's super easy to paddle into waves. That volume, makes it so easy, especially if you sort of sit further up the board. Paddle in super easy. Getting to my feet, lovely cruisy vibe to it. And, sort of, I'm used to sort of 3 fin setup. So having a single fin, really noticed the sort of extra speed. Counter to that though, obviously, having only the 1 fin and with having a diamond tail versus a square tail, you had to work the turns a bit more. And it was great because it just sort of got me to slow down my surfing a little bit and focus more on the technique rather than just, going for it and trying to generate too much speed. So, so I really enjoyed it. It was great to sort of walk up the board a little bit and sort of get that trim, some of the faster sections. It certainly, there was a few sections where it was quite slow. This just cruised through it really nicely. And I felt like I was on Endless Summer. It sort of had that vibe to it, sort of really nice, relaxed, a retro and classic look. Really enjoyed it. Great board. Got any further questions? Drop us a line via the details on the website and we will obviously answer whatever we can about the board. Thanks for listening.